This is day 64 of me spading every vehicle in War Thunder, and today I'm doing the Swedish 8.0 line. Now before we get into the video itself, I would kindly ask you to like and subscribe. For the first vehicle, we got the US H405. This weird-looking car thing has two 81mm rocket launchers on top of it that shoot heat with 330mm of penetration. It also has a great fire rate, as you can see. The turret rotation speed is pretty good for the vehicle. It also gets pretty good gun depression, which was also useful. It is a pretty fast vehicle, so what I did was that I started the games with this, got into a good position, and killed people who were not expecting me to be there yet. The armor on this is not great. You can be killed with a 7mm MG. The tank works fine on most of the maps for flank plays and just getting to places people would not expect you to be at the start of the game. Overall, in my opinion, the tank is great for being the first tank I use, but at the later stages of the game, it is not the best. Next is the Pvrbv 551. This vehicle is the worst vehicle that I have had to spade. Now, part of that reason might be the next couple clips that I'm going to show you. Now this missile slinger gets an ARB-55C, ATGM with 800mm of penetration. The reload rate on this is fine since you want to play it pretty far from the enemies. The gun depression is great. It's very needed for this vehicle to be able to look over some hills and bumps to not get instantly killed by the enemy. This vehicle also gets basically no armor. The gunner can just be shot since his vest is not going to save him. You ideally would want a big open map for this vehicle, but you can make use of it in some little more dense maps. But in something like Advanced to the Rhine, it is almost useless. In my opinion, it is a terrible vehicle. Sure, it somewhat works on bigger maps, but I would much rather be playing an actual tank than this. For the next vehicle, I got the Strv 101. This vehicle was great in my opinion. It gets a 105mm cannon, and you get APDS shells with 347mm of penetration. The turret rotation time on the tank is fine, so is the gun depression. The reload rate is pretty fine too. I would say the armor is pretty good. You could stand some hits from the front, even though you would get disabled. The tank is kind of slow with the top speed of 35 km per hour. The tank works well in any kind of map, but I found it worked the best in smaller maps. Overall, in my opinion, a very solid tank. I almost nuked twice while playing it. Next, I got the anti-air. This AA works very well for killing tanks with its two 40mm cannons with 90mm of penetration and great fire rate. It also has an incredible turret rotation speed since it is an AA. However, the gun depression is not the best, but it's not the worst either. Now, this being an AA, it gets no armor. You can easily be killed with a 50 cal, so I got pretty scared every time I saw a US tank, since pretty much all of them have a 50 cal on top of them. It is also pretty fast with 60 km per hour top speed, which made this also a good tank to start with. I mostly tried to get some flank plays done, which did work pretty well. It works well in any kind of maps for all kind of vehicles. Even though I didn't get that many air kills, it was also fine for killing planes. Overall, I would say this was probably my favorite vehicle to do out of these 5. I even almost nuked with this once. And for the last vehicle, I did the Finnish T-54. This tank just okay in my opinion, not the best, but it gets a 100mm cannon and shoots sabot rounds with 332mm of penetration. The turret rotation is not the best, the reload rate is fine, and the gun depression is bad. The armor, on the other hand, is pretty good. I could take a lot of hits without dying. The speed of the tank is also fine. This tank works the best on smaller maps in my opinion, since peeking over the hills and bumps is not the best strat with 4 degrees of gun depression. Overall, in my opinion, it is a pretty mid tank. It can take some hits, but there is better tanks to play.